Day number one of the early signing period of this 2023 class continues here as Ryqueze McElderry up next for Alabama. He signs his letter of intent. Originally committed to Georgia, he flips to the Crimson Tide there back in July of this year. Interior offensive lineman here out of Alabama as the Crimson Tide secure another in-state commitment now, getting him to sign. What are your thoughts on McElderry, a guy that Alabama had been on for quite some time?
Well, he's a ox. He is a strong, powerful dude. I mean, this is a guy that Alabama really liked early on in the process. They didn't offer him right away. They didn't offer him during until kind of late junior season. Of course, everybody feels like you got to get offered as freshmen these days, but this is a kid that got offered right after his junior season. And the problem with that was he was getting ready to make his decision, and he committed to Georgia about a week after he received that offer from Alabama. Of course, it ended up working out well for Alabama in the end. But I definitely think that this is a guy that has a chance to really develop into a great interior offensive lineman for the Crimson Tide. Now, will he end up being a guard? Could he potentially play center? Yeah, I think he's going to stick to guard. I can kind of see him being like a Deontay Brown type player, maybe Chance Warmack. Just got those strong, powerful hands that can really get on you and put you in the dirt. Plays for Anniston High School. Had a great season. Had a great career, not just a great season at Anniston, and definitely somebody that is going to have a chance to play early. I think with the fact that has enrolled early, there is a big need at the offensive, on the interior offensive line. I think he's going to have a really good chance to see the field. Maybe not as a freshman, but I think by the time he's a sophomore, he's certainly going to have a chance to potentially start for the Tide. I mean, that's just how good he's got a chance to really be. But he's got to really focus in on the weight room, stick with a good diet, and I think he's going to be able to do that. And he's already enrolled at Alabama, went through bowl practices the first week, and he's already in the system. It's not like he's just hanging out and going to get there in June. He's already part of the Alabama football team, and they're going to make sure that he's doing all the right things to develop and get right.
Yeah, I think that's big. McElderry getting in here, getting with the team for this bowl practice session. And, a guy that was committed to Georgia made that commitment, like you said, a week after his Alabama offer. What did it take for the Crimson Tide to ultimately grab him back, though, from the Bulldogs?
Well, he is an Alabama fan, and it doesn't always work out that way. I mean, we've seen some other guys in this recruiting cycle who grew up Alabama fans and ended up going somewhere else. But he grew up in an Alabama household. Antonio Kite, who signed with Alabama last year, his old teammate, he was recruiting him heavily. But I think once Alabama finally started recruiting him and started pushing for him, it was kind of an easy decision for him. There were some other schools that were also still recruiting him. Auburn, Tennessee, and Georgia's trying to keep a hold of him. But once we saw him, go to junior day in Tuscaloosa, come back to Alabama for spring practices and the spring game, and then come to Tuscaloosa, early in the summer, kind of moved all the momentum on Alabama's side. And I think, also, once again, the relationship with Alabama offensive line coach Eric Wolford played a big role. Coach Wolford was actually the very first coach to extend Rock McElderry a scholarship offer when he was just a sophomore. And that was when Coach Wolf was at the University of South Carolina as their offensive line coach before he went to Kentucky. So that relationship has been going on very strong for a long time. I think, Coach Wolf joining Alabama's coaching staff earlier this year, I think that played a major role in the decision. But I think also just a chance to play, for your home state school, for the school that you grew up cheering for. All your family's friends of you, have friends who are on the football team. I think all those were big factors in that decision.
Yep, home state kid picks his favorite school growing up here in Alabama, out of Anniston, is the Crimson Tide. Get another letter of intent signed here on this first day of the early signing period, 2023, for this 2023 class at least. And guys, for everything going on surrounding today, the next few days, and all things Alabama recruiting, you're going to want to go check us out at BamaInsider.com. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button on this YouTube channel. We're going to have videos breaking down all of these signings throughout the day. And everything else going on in the world of Alabama football. For Andrew Bone, my name is Trey Yanity, as Ryqueze McElderry has signed with the Alabama Crimson Tide.